Let's meditate. My friend's wife passed away. I just got the mail. Whenever I visited Japan, I used to stay at their place 3-4 days, sometimes more. She must be 70 years old or some. Had a stroke. Had a wonderful time together. So Mill said it was fairly sudden, so maybe that was better than prolonging. When we have new event popping up, the impact may be small or large, but with my engineering background, if we don't touch the memory, just leave it alone, it's fade away exponentially. If the relationship or some impact related to the event is big, the impact is big. And maybe more often to recollect various parts of the memory. So you end up by reinforcing the memory every time you think back about that event or anything related to that. If you're in samadhi, no mind, longer that you don't remind of the event, it will lose the potential, so to speak. So it fades away. Right or wrong, that's what it is. But I don't know, in the process you may want to just capture the good memories related to that. And that good memory may come around, not specific to that event, but related to something similar. Like when I remember Michiyo is her name, my friend's wife, I immediately remember we had such a laugh, pleasant time together. So that may be kept and may come out in a positive way. Don't know the situation, but I believe what we have in a mind-body construct is that we have a network, interpenetration. That's Kegon idea. Neuron nodes connect to each other in different ways. So that if there's that wonderful smile memory, that's a positive way to remember. And reinforce that positivity as if that person message carries on in a different setting. So it depends. But strictly speaking, no mind, no self. Samadhi would leave the power of memory coming back to be exponentially fade away. That's nature's way to accentuate what's important. But again, if what's important is the smile and the positive part of it, that may be carried on as if she is alive in a different form. Maybe that's the sense of a compassion, the power of compassion, and having the compassion to positively influence what we do in our life, as if by the nature's way, the positive reinforces but negative ones, you accept it. I just thought about the opposite direction. When I pass away, there's nothing left on my side. But who knows? I'm alive in my video. Some odd behavior. But if I kept saying, be sincere and truthful, who knows? human being has such a magical element from the birth and after we pass away. So it's kind of interesting to look at the big picture of how things happen. And maybe that's the effect of samadhi, that you don't have the ego at the center, but like a floating, flexible, without knowing. We are connected. I just thought about one point that I used to think. I used to think that me being here is a miracle, but one of the way I could picture the miracle is all the ancestors backward in history, my parents and their parents and their parents and all the way back, even 10 generations. I don't know what's the number, maybe 1,000, 1 to 1,000 probability or something, and another 30 or 50. Would make it easily billions of combinations. So any of those combinations didn't work, then I'm not here. And you're not there. When my father didn't, or my great-great-father turned left instead of turned right, maybe that's what happened when he or she met the partner. Any possibilities, good or bad. So I feel like, I use the word I. I felt like I'm a little leaf or dust floating on the surface of the water, not knowing which way to go. So if you look from that piece of or leaf, whatever, or the dust floating, ocean is so big. But if you don't think from your ego, you being the center, but looking you from outside, no self, no mind, it's just an event. And non-duality, so no right or wrong, good or bad. In samadhi. And you can call it that's the absolute. And there's no argument in absolute. As human, we make lots of argument, and democracy cannot stand without argument. Maybe someone said that. But if we are prepared to bring out the wisdom and compassion instead of bringing out delusion, egocentric way, as I was thinking like that, so it's absolute state. But what reminded me of the Taoism, the nature's way, no action, no human action, nature's way. You cannot win over the nature's way because that's absolute. And to be one with the nature's way, that's one way to put it, is awakening. Be at the state of absolute. Being absolute. So I talked about the ego, talked about passing away of my friend's wife, and how we may take a positive side of it to live well instead of being depressed or anything. I think that's the message. And being sincere and truthful may make that possible. I don't know why. Well, I guess I know because it's not the human logic. That's the way it is. Way. The nature's way. And that's the state of being absolute, no duality, in the Garden of Eden. And then bite the fruit of knowledge to do whatever we can, being as a human, with compassion and wisdom. That's our job. Usually I have a meditation in the morning, but today I made a mistake. I already posted one, so I decided to make another one for tomorrow. This turned out to be the one. Thank you, Michiyo-san. Had a good time together. Good memories. I remember that. As human. That's it. It will be boring if you are just being in the state of absolute. Come out of it and share the story. Thank you for visiting if you are still around. Hope to see you next time.